we wish, in the first premise, to respond to the passage of Constitution Amendment Bill number 3 of 2026 in both the lower and the upper houses of Parliament, being the National Assembly and the Senate respectively. And we secondly wish to respond to the alarming escalation in political repression and the ongoing clampdown against dissenting voices, especially voices that are peacefully opposed or expressing any kind of opposition to CAB3, and most recently the ongoing targeting of our own members and leadership within the Constitution Defenders Forum. And with me today is our national spokesperson, Mr. Jacob Rukweza, and I will hand over to him now to first of all give us the preliminary remarks, whereupon we will then get into the substantive issues and matters of our press briefing today. Over to you, Mr. Rukweza.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Let me start by apologizing for keeping you waiting, and thank you for your patience. Allow me to start by expressing our sincere appreciation to the members of the media who are attending the press conference today. We are grateful for the continued interest in issues affecting constitutionalism and democracy. You already did this, but
yes,
okay.
You're supposed to start from here.
Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is it possible for us to cut? I don't know how we're going to have to do this.
It's okay.
You cut it. Okay. So just start from. We first of all wish to address issues regarding our recent appointment of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me start by introducing matters concerning the recent appointments that were done by the Constitution Defenders Forum. The first appointment that we want to talk about is the appointment of Miss Jacqueline Sande. Miss Jacqueline Sande is a lawyer by training, a constitutional lawyer, and she is joining us as the spokesperson of the gender desk in the CDF. There's been some confusion about her appointment in the media and in different communities that Jacqueline Sande is the national spokesperson. Let me clarify that I am the national spokesperson of the Constitution Defenders Forum. My name is Jacob Rukweza. Nothing has changed, and Chieza with me here. Chieza Mlingwa is the deputy spokesperson of the CDF. So I just thought we should clarify that. So contrary to reports that have been circulating in the media platforms, Ms. Sande has not been appointed as a substantive national spokesperson of the CDF. She is, for the avoidance of doubt, the spokesperson of the women's desk. The Constitution Defenders Forum is itself governed by a constitution. That constitution clearly establishes its internal structures, leadership, organs, and the governance framework. One of those structures is the women's desk, and the women's desk is the part of the structures that Jacqueline Sande is joining. And operationalization has been unfortunately been delayed owing to a number of vacancies that had not yet been filled. Following consultations within the organization, CDF has now taken deliberate steps to fully operationalize the important structure. Accordingly, Jackie Sande joined us. Also joining the desk is the women's desk chairperson, Sam Kelly Sochuma, and the women's desk programs director, Charity Nyoni. So those are the new appointments that have been effected by CDF to fill the vacancies that were open in the women's desk. This is in keeping with the CDF mantra, which is to engage and embrace everyone across the political divide, from all walks of life across the country and the 10 regions that make up the country. Finally, it is crucial to reiterate that while the major issue the CDF is predominantly seized with is to respond to CAB3, political connotations have been spread around that CDF is a political party. We want to clarify that the CDF, although it has some who have been political activists in the past, the majority of its members are ordinary citizens. And because it is not a political party, we accept membership from anyone who subscribes to the mandate and objectives of the Constitution Defenders Forum. The mandate of the Constitution Defenders Forum is to defend the Constitution and, in addition, to uphold constitutionalism. So CDF remains a non-partisan civic platform uniting churches, civil society, labor representatives, war veterans, the youth, students, women, who are a crucial pillar, as well as citizens, both at home in Zimbabwe and abroad. So let me reiterate that CDF is not a political party. Neither are we aligned to any specific political formation. Rather, we are united by the objective of the defense of the Zimbabwe's constitution and to speak against the violation of the constitution, as well as to speak in support of constitutionalism and to promote constitutional rights of every citizen, regardless of political affiliation. Our loyalty is constitutionalism. Our allegiance is the democratic principles. Our commitment is to Zimbabwe. And having dispensed on these matters, let me now call upon our deputy spokesperson, Chieza Mlingwa, who is a lawyer by training and an expert in constitutional law. She will come and respond to the constitutional issues pertaining to the passing of the Constitutional Amendment Bill number 3. Over to you, Chieza. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Spokes. Thank you for those opening remarks. So, without much further ado, the passage of CAB3 through Parliament, really, it represents one of the most disappointing moments in Zimbabwe's recent constitutional history. Parliament may have fulfilled its formal legislative process required for constitutional amendment, ostensibly. However, legality must never be confused with legitimacy, and that is our primary position as the Constitution Defenders Forum. We want to make it clear, or rather remind those propagating this bill, that the Constitution of Zimbabwe was born out of one of the country's most extensive consultative processes. Millions of Zimbabweans participated in a referendum in March of 2018, crafting a social contract intended to place constitutional limits upon political power. Constitutional amendments should therefore only arise where there exists overwhelming national consensus, number one, and demonstrable public necessity, number two. CAB3 manifestly fails this test. Throughout its consideration, countless citizens, constitutional experts, churches, legal practitioners, civic organizations, retired army generals, war veterans have all expressed serious reservations about both its substance and its implications. Despite this, Parliament has proceeded with remarkable speed in promulgating Constitutional Amendment Bill number 3 of 2026. On Wednesday, 24 June 2026, we saw that it sailed through the National Assembly, through the Senate, with a majority vote of 75 senators, 4 and only 4 senators against. On 18 June 2026, the bill passed in the National Assembly with 216 votes for and 45 votes against this bill. In terms of parliamentary processes, the bill will now be remitted back to the National Assembly or to the lower house after having gone through amendments in the Senate. So had this been an ordinary bill, once both the National Assembly and the Senate have passed the bill with 2/3 majorities in their respective third readings. The bill will then be forwarded to the President for his assent or for his signature. But this is by far no ordinary bill. It is a bill that seeks to amend entrenched provisions of the Constitution and in so doing tear away at the basic structure, tenets, spirit and purport of the Constitution. It is about treating the Constitution as a political instrument, about aligning the nation's supreme law with strategic political party objectives. The President is expected to sign this bill into law next month. I want us to make no mistake about this. What we are witnessing right now, people of Zimbabwe, is not just a mutilation of the Constitution. It is an unfolding coup against the people of Zimbabwe. It is actually, for all intents and purposes, a calculated constitutional coup, and it does this in two ways. First of all, by attempting to strip citizens of their embedded rights under Section 67 of the Constitution, which entrenches their rights or the rights of citizens to participate in all elections, including presidential elections. But now CAB3 is coming forward and saying, we want to remove that right that you already have, that you were given, that is entrenched under Chapter 4 of the Constitution, Section 67, and place that within Parliament. And a captured one for that. Secondly, it does this by attempting to extend the presidential term by an additional 2 years. Now, those who are familiar with regional benchmarks regarding this issue will be aware of the African Charter on Democracy, Elections and Good Governance, specifically Article 23, Clause 5. It classifies any amendment or revision of the Constitution to facilitate an extended term in office beyond the constitutionally stipulated term of office as a coup or unconstitutional change of government. We cannot allow the President's term or any public functionary's term to be extended by an additional 2 years without going back to the ballot. That should not happen in an ordinary, functional democracy. The bill must now go to a people's referendum. Section 328 subsection 6 of the 2013 Constitution of Zimbabwe, as read conjunctively with Section 328 subsection 9, provides that where a bill seeks to amend any provision of Chapter 4, which entrenches the Declaration or Bill of Rights, then it must be submitted to a national referendum. So as indicated earlier in our statement, the bill strips or takes away or changes the meaning of the rights protected under Section 67 of the Constitution. Section 67 is located under Chapter 4 of the 2013 Constitution of Zimbabwe. And as indicated under Section 328, if any bill seeks to amend any provision of Chapter 4, it must be submitted to a national referendum. Additionally, where a bill stands to amend a term limit provision by extending the amount of time that a person can be in office, and secondly, where that extension benefits a person or persons already occupying office at the time that the amendment is made, then again, the bill must be taken to the people to decide on that question before that benefit accrues. We therefore stand before you and the nation today as the Constitution Defenders Forum to reinforce a position that has already been made by numerous others, and most recently by a group of war veterans led by our CDF war veterans representative, Comrade Ruben Zulu, to the Speaker of Parliament and to the President of the Senate, who are basically urgently calling for the following, and we reinforce this call today. Firstly, we call for the withdrawal of Constitutional Amendment Bill number 3 of 2026 in its entirety, on the basis that it is constitutionally defective and goes against the basic tenets or basic underpinnings of democracy, constitutionalism, and the rule of law. Alternatively, that the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Mr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, should make a formal pronouncement that he will not append his signature to this bill without first ensuring that the bill is taken through a national inclusive referendum. Ultimately, and finally, that should he or Parliament fail to heed to the calls that we are making today, that both Parliament and the President will be liable to being found guilty of gross misconduct and of dereliction of their respective constitutional duties, responsibilities, and obligations under Sections 90 subsection 1, 119, and 128 of the Constitution respectively. We give both Parliament and the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe 72 hours to heed to this call. Failing which, we have to admit one thing, that the people of Zimbabwe are really being left with no other option other than to exercise all available legal options, constitutionally protected guarantees available to them, particularly under Section 59. I know it may seem to ordinary Zimbabweans right now, abasilaleleyo kana kuti vakatiteerera, kuti the passage of Constitutional Amendment Bill number 3, both in the lower and upper houses of Parliament, may appear to mean that the battle has now come to an end. It is only just beginning. What it now means is that citizens have a moral justification to actually respond to this constitutional degradation, as we have said, by whatever legal and constitutional means available to them. Not only as a necessity that is provided for under the Constitution, under Section 59, but also as a moral justification or a moral basis in response or in the quest or search for equality, justice, and liberty for all. We cannot allow this to happen under our watch. We owe the future generations. We owe it to the children that we are raising today. We owe it to ourselves. We owe it to the sons and daughters of Zimbabweans who laid down their lives in the liberation struggle to put up a steadfast fight against Constitutional Amendment Bill number 3. In fact, starting from today, every single day should actually be a concerted fight and response to Constitutional Amendment number 3 bill, even if it passes, even if it is presented to the President for his signature, and even more so if he actually proceeds to append his signature to that bill.